In this video, we're gonna be going over how I was able to rank #1 for best paint spray for wheels and rims using my 17-point SEO checklist. If I click this result, you can see this is my page here on my site, Pro Paint Corner. And if I go to this, we're gonna be going through my entire list. Now, this list is included in my Blog Accelerator program. I launched that this week. It's my private SEO community for bloggers and people wanting to build SEO-driven blogs. This specifically is in module 5, the on-page blogging and SEO section. So it just gives you a little taste of what's in the Blog Accelerator. So I wanna go through this list one by one and show you exactly where on this page I'm optimizing. Now, a couple words on the 17-point checklist. This is the culmination of many years of experience in SEO. I've been doing this since 2016, 2017, ranked millions of keywords, generated millions in traffic. It works. That's why I've included it in the Blog Accelerator program and why I want to share it with you as a teaser for people maybe considering joining Blog Accelerator and learning my entire playbook for building blogs using SEO. Let's just jump back into my screen and go through the article one by one. First thing you can see, I always include the target keyword in the H1. Now, this is specifically a best piece. Regardless of what keyword you're trying to rank, you always want to include it in the H1. I mean, sounds pretty straightforward, and I always make the meta title the same as the H1. So if you go in the page source here and you go to title, so title is right here, and this is the meta title in the back end. It matches the H1, and this is important because I want people, when they click the organic result, to see the same thing when they land on the page. Now, some people are like, you should make the H1 and meta different, and like the H1 should say something and the meta, no, they should be the same, because what you want is to have continuity between the click and then the land. It's something called, there's a term for it in the paid ads world, it's called ad scent. This is like click scent. So if somebody clicks the results, going back here, if you see top 6 best spray paint for wheels and rims, and you click that, and then you see it again here, you know you're in the right spot. So let's just go back to the article. So that's #1. I always make the H1, the target keyword, which in this case is best spray paint for wheels and rims, in the H1. I also make sure that it's in the meta. So that's #1. #2, target keyword in the first 200 words. So I try to work in the target keyword here. And this is funny enough, in the Yandex leak, they also mentioned this as a page ranking factor. So I'm trying to include that word right there. So you can see that was included. Now that's the next one. Now I do bullets, intro, summarizing the entire article. I do this because the way I see it is you're trying to incentivize people to stay on your page and reduce bounce rate. So when somebody lands and they see these bullets, usually I like to have them up here, but in this case they got below here, which is fine. It just will hook the reader, because if they see something here, first of all, bullets are extremely scannable. Always use bullets if you can. If you can't use bullets, use bullets. And because people are gonna read them, most likely. They're gonna skim through this, they're gonna read these, and they're gonna be like, oh yeah, like I wanna paint rims like a boss. Like there's a little personality in there, and that was I directed my writer to do that. But you can see exactly what I'm trying to do. So I always try to add these bullets in so that people are hooked and they'll continue reading and they won't hit the back button. Next one is a small branded thumbnail. So that's right here. And also if you were to right click it, the alt text is optimized for the target keyword. So top 5 best spray paint wheels and rims. You can see that it hasn't been updated. It still says 2020 in there, so you gotta fix that. But the target keyword is in the alt text, top of the fold. And oh, by the way, the target keyword is also in the image. So the reason I'm doing that is because if somebody lands on this page, they see this, they know they're in the right spot. Really important. I do it on all my articles. Now, you don't need our image here. It could be here, it could be here, it could be here, it could be anywhere. It's just somewhere. And I also like to brand it because Google will scrape your page and they will include it in the image search results. So next one here is featured product. So if I scroll down, I usually have a featured product section somewhere near the top of the fold. Again, this is specifically best content. If you're trying to optimize informational content like how-to, things like that, obviously you're gonna skip some of these things that aren't relevant, but the first 4 are relevant no matter what kind of article you're producing. So if you're trying to say, oh, I don't only have that, that's what you would do in this case. Anyway, so you can see here that I have this image, which is being generated, and it's an Amazon image. And I also have a little bit of a summary here of why we picked it, and a button to go. So a button to go to Amazon. So this is basically a feature, and it just helps say, hey, this is the product we picked. It's pretty straightforward, nothing. And I always have a featured list. So you really want something like this. something featuring, like if it's a roundup of products, you want multiple products in your list. And ideally you want multiple vendors. So I just have Amazon here. So I would argue if I wanted to make this better, I should have like Home Depot or Lowe's in addition to Amazon. So that's one thing I need to do to this page to make it better. But the point is, this is just a list of products and I always include those. Because again, this is really delivering on the intent of the keyword. So when somebody's looking for the best spray paint for wheels and rims, and they see the best spray paints right here, people that just want to like find what they're looking for and leave, they will do that. If they want more information, they'll keep scrolling. And that's kind of what you're optimizing for here. You're optimizing for those people who just want what they want and know what they want, and they just need like a quick recommendation. And then you're also optimizing for people who want more info about the top pick. And then you're also optimizing for people who want more information about each of these products, right? If you even scroll all the way to the bottom, I even have more information on each of them, pros and cons, things like that. The next thing is table of contents. Let me scroll back up. You need pretty much table of contents is a required addition to all my articles. Not only does Google scrape these and include them as site links in the search results, if I go back, you can see that these are site links. And these are here because of the table of contents. Google scrapes those and then will include them as site links. Pretty much everybody has them because they're all using table of contents, but it just maximizes click-through rate on the search result. And then usually to implement table of contents, WordPress, there's so many different plugins that'll do it. In this specific one, I'm using Thrive Architect, which I don't recommend. I'm actually moving away from Thrive Architect as a page builder. There are a number of, I believe Table of Contents Plus is a WordPress plugin that I like, and it's pretty lightweight, so I recommend that. Next is featured snippet optimization. So featured snippet optimization is right here for this article. Basically, you want something that's very punchy and to the point and answers the query. So in this case, if somebody were to Google best spray paints for wheels and rims, Google is gonna scrape this and then it'll potentially include it as a featured snippet. Shorter and punchier, basically you want to optimize for the target keyword and you want the answer to be pretty close to that title. That's it. That's all you gotta do to optimize for the target keyword. Again, if you are thinking, hey, I'm not doing a roundup post, like how do I optimize for like informational articles? Same concept. You might have like just a paragraph here near the target keyword in a header, and Google, that should be enough to optimize for the featured snippet. Also, put it towards the top of the page. The farther down the page, the least likely it will work. So higher the better in that case. All H2s listed as questions. So I'm a big advocate of questions. People ask questions, they get answers, Q&A. It's like sort of how people understand the internet. You can see all of my H2s are in the form of questions. Usually, this looks like maybe an H3 or an H2. Yeah, this is H3. Usually my H2s are questions, my H3s are not questions. So the way I'm optimizing here is like if somebody's skimming and they see a question, they're like, oh yeah, I'm interested in that. They'll stop and they'll read what's in here. Because that's usually what happens, right? You wanna optimize for skimming. They'll land on your page, skim, see the table, see what they're looking for. If they wanna keep going, they'll see this element, they'll see the table of contents, they'll keep going, they might skim over. Then they see a question that's like, oh yeah, I have that question. Then they read the detail. Pretty much trying to sell them to stay and sell them to read your detail here. And that's kind of what I'm thinking. It's usually works pretty well, that Q&A format. Oh, by the way, it also is how people Google things. So by optimizing as questions, you're optimizing for how people actually type things into Google. So you're just maximizing the relevance of your page to a query. So that's the last thing on that. I also really like YouTube videos because you can just embed them on your page. If I scroll through, I should have at least one, and there is one right here. I am using a page speed optimization plugin that makes this load really fast, and it almost looks like a thumbnail here. It used to be the case where if you have an embed on the page, it slows your whole website down because Google has to load that as almost like a separate website. It's an embed. It's a little technical, but basically I like videos because if somebody watches the video, they are gonna stay on the page really long time. And the longer that they're on the page, it sends positive signals to Google. It's like, hey, this person's been on this page for 2-3 minutes. They must be resolving their query. It's highly relevant for the query that they've Googled. And that's what I'm optimizing for. If somebody literally sits here and like watches this full video for 11 minutes, even if it's just like 1 out of like 20 or 30 people, that will increase my average, the dwell time for the whole entire, for basically it's just one person that's increasing the dwell time average for people that visit my page. And that's what I'm trying to optimize for. So I usually do 1 or 2 videos that are relevant to the page, and that's how I do it. Then I also do at least 1 piece of custom media. So I mean, you can kind of consider this as that, but I also do at least 1 more image, something like this, where it's like custom. It's just a Canva template, really basic, a screen grab from something from like Deposit Photos, then a little blurb, just something different, you know? again, I'm an advocate of like, if Google comes to your page and sees unique images on the page, it's like a +1, gold star. Is it gonna make you rank number 1? Probably not, but it will help. And that's how I see it. So if we go here, all outbound links are .edu, .gov. I'm a big advocate of associating my sites with highly authoritative sites. .govs and .edus are really important for this because those are usually DR 80, 90 types plus sites, and they're highly trusted by Google. So if I associate my site with those sites, I believe I stand a better chance. It's better than linking to spammy sites, right? If you think about the extremes, on one extreme, you're linking to highly authoritative, credible sites about your niche. On the other extreme, you're linking to spam. You want to be on the other side. You want to be linking to credible sites, and it just maximizes the chance that Google will see that you're an authority too. Otherwise, why would you be linking to them? And you're credible too. At least 3 to 4 relevant internal links. If you were to scroll through this article, you should see things like this. It's a great tactic that I try to optimize for the target anchor that I'm trying to rank for. So I will optimize for how do you get rid of spray paint smell. So I am optimized for that term. It's also in a section that makes sense. It's about spray paint, so it makes sense that I'd be linking to a spray paint article. And that's pretty much it. I'll try to do a couple of these. I usually do these types of links more than I do these types of links. They're both fine. I just find that it's easier for me to go back to old articles and add internal links like this. And I will also try to put them near the H2 that they're related to, or like do my best with mapping those correctly. One other tip on placing internal links, I'm a big advocate of doing like the site : so if you're looking at this article and you're like, I wonder where else I could place an internal link on my site. Basically take this, best spray paint for wheels and rims. I would go to site : propaintcorner.com, and I would type in spray paint for wheels. And what's gonna happen is, most likely, I'm gonna see this article, number 1, because it's most relevant, but then I'm gonna see the second most relevant article related to this term. So I know Google sees that this page is relevant to this term, and it makes sense for me to include an internal link on this page pointing to this page. So if I go to this page and I check the code, I'm gonna look to see if I have a link from here to there, and I don't. So really great internal link opportunity here to link up these pages and create some relevance and some signals. Definitely recommend doing it that way. Pros and cons boxes related to each product. If we scroll down, you can see pretty basic, pretty standard for product review roundups. Clickable products to Amazon. Again, all my stuff links to Amazon. I don't recommend having only one link to one brand. Google does like to see diversity. So I would, if I'm like making recommendations to myself, I would try to link to Lowe's, Home Depot, whatever. I would probably try to emphasize Amazon because I think I will make the most money from that click, but I will at least have other options. So if the algorithm or Google's trying to discern if I'm just like pushing everything to Amazon, trying to optimize for that and make sure Google doesn't think that I'm not really giving options to users, which is in their quality rater guidelines to give optionality. I also have related posts widgets. So if you scroll down, I make sure that I link to related posts here so you create relevance. And that's pretty straightforward. That's what I'm doing here. And then ensure topical silo structure. Scroll up, you can see that I have my breadcrumbs. So if you go to the automotive paint, all of my articles about automotive paint, looks like I'm missing a thumbnail there, so I should fix that. But these are all relevant and related to each other. I would argue that I could probably do a bit better job, maybe add like 300 to 500 unique words on this page about automotive paint, about what it is, just to add more context for Google. I would recommend doing that. But this is generally how I set up the hub and spoke structure so Google can see that there's a relationship here. And that is it. This is how I put my articles together. This is my bread and butter recipe for ranking #1 on Google organic search. Obviously, you saw a best type article, a roundup. You can definitely apply this to other non-roundups. And yeah, if you're interested in more content like this, I recommend you join my Blog Accelerator private community. Links down in the description below. This is just one video from one module in that program, so you know there's tons of other stuff that I can share with you to help you grow your websites using SEO. Anyway, that's all I got for you in today's video. I will see you in the next one.